John Watson.
John Watson, where you from?
Marrant Bay, St. Thomas in Jamaica.
Oh, you're from St. Thomas. The East, they normally refer to St. Thomas as the East.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know why them place so much emphasis on the East.
God, they said the wise men came from the East. The Bible said that.
The wise men came from the East, right. But what is it true that St. Thomas and Portland used to be one parish?
I think I heard that.
Okay.
Yes, I think I heard that.
Okay. So what was it like with you, like growing up in St. Thomas as a youth?
Yeah, well, in St. Thomas, we were fortunate to have the Princess Margaret Hospital nearby, but just a landmark for us in St. Thomas. We had the rebellion when Paul Bogle fight for freedom. You know, the oppression that was taking place, somebody that stood up.
Right.
And when persons don't listen, then the only thing person can do is retaliate. As I remember, Mandela was saying that the adversary determines the shape that the war takes.
The adversary determines the shape that the war takes.
Yes.
Mandela said that.
Mandela said that. Okay. I think in his book, Long Walk to Freedom.
Oh.
Yeah, Long Walk to Freedom.
And you read that book?
I read that book. Yes.
Wow.
Because I associate myself with history.
Interesting, yeah.
Yes. Know about even.
So why did you read that book? Was it in school or you just in?
I just got it. Seeing that I work at the St. Thomas Parish Library for over 34 years.
So we're gonna get to that part in a bit.
After growing up and start to realizing, knowing yourself, then you start to look and you start to realize the oppression that your ancestors have gone through, then you becomes interested.
Right.
So you start to, I would say, investigate. Need to know more.
That makes sense.
But most importantly, we look in where we go in the communities. There were the elites. And because the elites, although we were all blacks, some persons could afford television, refrigerator, they have things that the lower class of persons.
The classism
steps in. So I remember clearly when my mother used to work with this lady, and her mother was much darker than I am, and her mother was working with I wouldn't say it's a white man, but of color.
Right.
And her mother got pregnant by the person that she was working with. So she came with a more higher color. But her mother was dark as cold.
Wow.
Very dark. But because of that, she sees herself as being a little higher than the average person. Although her mother was very dark.
Oh, because she has less melanin now.
Melanin, okay.
Oh.
Right. So I remember my mother used to work with her. And I remember when most of you remember the TV series Bonanza.
Yes.
Bonanza. So most of us didn't have television then. So we'd go to the fire station. The fire station had purchased a television, black and white. So most Fridays, Bonanza used to came on most Fridays.
This was around what time? What time? Why here? Pure like in the 90s or
19. I think it's in the 70s. 60s, 70s. I remember we got independent, and I remember we were going to school, probably in the 60s, I think, in the 70s. And a lot of us would gather at the fire station on Fridays. Carbon was on a Friday. We'd get the fire station, they would turn the TV on and we'll look. You know? It was a pleasure for us, and it was something that we look forward to as young men, because mostly men, because we couldn't afford television then. Our parents couldn't afford television then. And then, you know.
So you were around what age group that time? Teenager?
Teenager, still going to school, still attending school. Yes, still attending school. So we'd always go and look and, you know.
What school you went to?
Morant Bay Primary School.
That was it for you? Or you went to?
And then I left Morant Bay Primary School, hanging around, wasn't doing anything much. Then I went to the trade center in Port Morant and did got a certificate in masonry. But I did not like masonry, so I did not pursue it. But I realized that was a mistake. But when you were young, you wasn't thinking on that line. You know, you weren't so conscious about the future.
Right.
Children are more conscious now than we were in those days. Because it's a payable job now.
Right.
Very payable.
So what were you interested in at that time?
I wanted electrician.
Oh, that was a good one.
And when I went to the trade center, it was filled. There were no more vacancy. So I turned to masonry.
Right.
I got a certificate. That was in 1972.
1972?
Yes, 72.
Okay.
Yeah, 72.
So going back to the fire station with watching that movie, what was that experience like for you?
Yes, it was great for us, and it was, saying that we never see ourselves probably purchasing a television. But as you begin to, you were looking for your parents anyway to do that, which they couldn't afford.
Right.
They couldn't afford. And they were very hard times, remember, because I remember the lady that my mom was working with. She had a television. And if we wanted to view the television, we could never sit in a settee in our house. She would open the windows. We had the windows with the sash, the car, and she would draw it up. And we stay in the veranda and look through the window.
Wow.
We were not allowed. So, that...
Why weren't you allowed? Because of your skin complexion?
Yeah, because the elites didn't see you as being class.
The classism.
Classism was really rampant then. Really rampant then. Because, I remember, even the banks, black skinned people couldn't work in the banks. Black skinned people couldn't be nurses. Black skinned people couldn't be teachers. You know?
Yes.
But as time evolves, you realize that people can't do anything. And there were a few people that was climbing up the ladder to say.
Right.
And then parents began to realize that, yes, you can do it. You know? Because first time all you had need to do was go to school that you can read. That was it.
Okay.
And then few people concerned about furthering themselves. But as we go along, we learn and we see classings begin to change and persons start to acquire things that the elite had.
Right.
So we know that there's hope.
Okay.
There were hope. So we were there.
Right.
But I remember there was this lady. She's from Panama. She came to Jamaica, and her sister was in England, in America. So her sister would send a television for her, and then all the boys around the area in the black would go to her home, and we were accepted. You could sit in a matter of fact, she had, once you came, we went, she opened up her house, her kids, and all the kids sat on the floor. When the settee was no vacancy, no seat was there, we sat on the floor, and she would cook and she would give every single child. And that makes you feel acceptable.
So that's a big difference compared
Big
to the other
difference.
lady mentioned.
Yes.
And her skin complexion
was dark.
Okay.
Dark. And her children had dark complexion. She had a few children that were much lighter still, but she, and so I stopped looking at television at the lady house where my mom used to work. So she asked, she wouldn't see me coming there again, she asked. So I told my mom, because I started to realize, looking, you start to see yourself now.
Yes.
So you realize that something is wrong.
Yes.
So I said to my mom, tell her that when I go down to Miss Douglas, she make her sit in her home. So my mother said, no. She was afraid to say that. She was afraid to say that. So we, so she didn't want to tell her that. So I didn't remember what she said to her, but I stopped looking there. So I'd run to Miss Douglas and,
Yeah.
So that was really growing up. And then after you look around, you see, especially my brother Dudley, who was a mentor, he was a father, he was a brother, he was everything. And he said to me,
it's your brother, right?
Brother,
you look up to your brother. Wow.
Yes, look up to him. And he said to me, that time he was doing his mason. He was a mason. So he ride his bicycle 5, 6, 7 miles to go and work. Yeah?
Wow.
Very far. And I remember my mommy cooking his breakfast. He'll eat some and tie the rest on his bicycle angle, and he'll go on to work.
Wow.
And he was a provider. It was a supplementary what do you say now? Income.
Yes.
For the family. Yeah. And he took care of his family. I remember when my siblings started to have children, and he stepped in as a father, as an uncle,
wow,
as a brother, and he just maintained.
So where was your dad, your biological dad?
My dad, yes. He had lost one of his legs.
Oh.
So was unable to work.
Okay.
Yeah,
so your brother stepped in.
Stepped in, yes. Dudley stepped in. And my mom, she was working with a lady, but it was nothing much. 5 children, mother and father. So Dudley stepped in, and he has always been that person.
That's wonderful.
Throughout his whole life. I remember him coming on the farm work program. He made sure we all had something to eat. He didn't live for himself.
Yeah.
He always find out if everything is okay at home. When he was coming home, he would brought things for his nephews, and everybody got something. Everybody got something. Then after a while, he went to America. Sorry, he went to Bermuda.
Bermuda?
Yes, and he did the very same thing. But realizing that the Bermudans were saying that the Jamaicans had taken away their work, taken away their jobs. So they had to come home. So he came home and he started to build his house. As a matter of fact, before he came home, he decided to want a house for his family, for his siblings and everybody. So I hold a brother and myself with the man that he used to work with, a contractor named Mr. Pinnock. We went ahead and Mr. Pinnock lined the house out, and my bigger brother Rupert and myself, we dug the foundation night and day because we were together.
Right.
He was making a sacrifice. So we dug the foundation. We took our time day, and since we were there until night, And we got the steel, though they send the money, we got the steel, we got the blocks, the sand, and then we get in a few workers, and Mr. Pinnock started the foundation. So when Del Dudley came, he continued from there.
This was a family house.
Family, yes.
Oh,
yes,
okay,
yes.
okay.
We put together. Financially,
Yes.
he was the one that finance. But labor, we put in financial, yes. And he went to a point, and when he realized that thing wasn't what he wanted, he decided to try the farm work again. And he got through and came up, and I don't remember what year it was. And he, did not came back.
Okay, and you didn't try the farm work yourself, right?
No.
Oh, okay.
I started to work at the library.